Hi guys, my name's Danny, and I'm an instructor here in Canada, and I'm also an instructor in New Zealand as well, at the Mount Hutt station just outside Christchurch. Really, really cool place to go and ski. This will be my third season now instructing, and it's I love the job. It's something I feel quite passionate about, and I also get to meet a lot of people who are passionate about skiing in general as well every single day. But you generally get a good feel for the kind of industry in doing something like this. I'll just go a little bit of background about myself. I didn't start skiing up until I was about 18, so quite late into the game. I did a few years skiing and went, you know what, I really like this. Why? Let's go away and teach. My sister was in the EA program as well. She really liked it, and she suggested, why don't you try it? So I did. I rang them up. We know how to, in fact, talk to Ashley, and we went from there. And we both agreed, actually, you know what, New Zealand sounds like the best option. I was like, yeah, sweet. Let's head out. Thing was, I know a lot of people who I've spoken to said, hey, it's a lot of money. And I'm like, yeah, cool. So me and Ashley, through chatting and just having a look, agreed maybe it wasn't, straight away go for this season, save up a bit of money, then go the next season and have the best time possible. It's something that you can, spend time working towards. And I know a lot of people have done that really, really good. I like that. If you can do it straight away, even better. Yeah, try and get involved as soon as possible. Really, was all I can say. I did my season in New Zealand. First off, I did my training and I got my level 1. The trainers were amazing. I think between the two of them that I think they had over 110 seasons of experience. So, what they didn't know wasn't worth knowing, really. So that was really, really good. Second season, I stayed in New Zealand, and I then did my second season. I ended up being the rep for the course at Hutt as well, which meant I got to kind of interact with the new recruits. Really, really great. Nice to see so many new faces, and it was really, really good to see them progress in the industry as well. We had a lot of returners as well, so a lot of people came back from my year as well. So there was a big group of people who trained through EA and knew the system. And what was nice is everybody supports each other. Everybody understands what EA is, and it is a big community all across the world. You'll see people from Canada, Japan, New Zealand, Australia, everywhere will be like, oh yeah, I've done EA. So it's a good community to join. And through that season, it's been really nice to see them progress. A lot of them went on to do their level 2s, just like myself, or some of them even went into doing dual certs. So they're now skiing and snowboarding instructors. I've now followed that on. I've done a back-to-back. So that's where you do winter, and then I'm going back again and doing winter again. I've not seen summer in a long time, but as you can tell by my strong goggle tan game, it's not exactly the coldest or the not so sunny over here. It's absolutely great being outside and just enjoying life, really.
Which I guess, can you tell me a little bit, maybe sort of a bit about what your day to day is there, Danny? Like what would sort of be a typical day for you? How would it start out for you?
So first things first, it is an early start always. You've got to be. I'm usually down at a shuttle to get to the mountain 7 o'clock in the morning. Quite standard, really. I think it's the same most places worldwide. Really, it is an early start. We get up. We generally set up the teaching area. It's our area to set up. So we set that up just before everybody starts off, and then you can usually squeeze in a lap or two just before lessons start as well, which is always nice. First tracks on a mountain, always a good thing. You can always find, especially on those powder days, you can always find those perfectly ungroomed, fresh tracks always. So that's always nice.
Nice.
And then you just go into lessons, which is fantastic. Lessons are graded 1 to 6. As a more senior instructor, I generally do those higher level lessons. So it's You know, just because you're an instructor doesn't mean you're stuck on the magic carpet. If you are a good instructor, schools will generally, and the more level qualifications you've got, generally the higher levels are the ones you'll be teaching. Most of my clients this year are quite high level. These are people who are looking at doing skiing through trees, skiing powder, off-piste terrain, bumps and moguls. I seem to teach a lot of those sorts of sessions. If you're interested in freestyle as well, you know, they're generally, I'm not a freestyle trained one, but there's some other requests that'll come in. So that you'll mainly get 2 to 3 lessons a day, which is, you know, not bad. That's pretty good. That's pretty good average for most people. And then usually with that other lesson, that other gap, you get to do training, which is obviously a very important part of what we do as instructors, is we advance ourselves in the industry. Without any training, you're not going to advance. You know, you've got to take it seriously. You're not going to advance. You're not going to get those high. You're not going to get your level 2 or your level 3. Most of the training is done by higher level instructors as well. So you're looking at examiners and things like that will always take you out, and they'll be able to teach you. Like I said, most of these people have got 10, 15, 20 seasons behind them. So they've got a lot of experience, and they'll give you a lot of feedback as well. So that's an average day. Usually it's pretty early finishing. It's about 4 o'clock. So a lot of people will maybe have an evening job. I know quite a lot of people have an evening job just to top themselves up. This isn't the highest earning industry in the world. You know, there's not tons of money floating about, but I've always found I can earn enough to live, and then just, if I want, can have an evening job, and I'll just top up, really. I think there's a question there from Julie saying, Danny, how do you find Mount Hutt? Is it a good mountain? I love Mount Hutt. I think it's a great mountain to ski on. It's in a bowl, so everything that you can see is skiable if there's enough snow. But more than anything for me is, as an instructor, obviously I want a mountain that I teach on. You know, it might not be the best mountain in the area, or it might not be the biggest mountain in the area, but it's got the most customers. For example, I'm working here at Nakiska in Canada. Yeah, there's some bigger, world-renowned mountains, like you've got Lake Louise just down the road, Kicking Horse, Revelstoke, fantastic places, but you don't get to teach as much. So there's always that toss-up between the two. Do you want to just go and ski, or do you want to actually advance in the industry? And definitely teaching and getting that experience teaching is really, really key. And I know that's why I'm one of the more senior instructors. Having 2 seasons of full teaching, of good teaching behind me, definitely helped me when I came to Canada. Yeah.
Fantastic. So we have another question from what I can see here from Kira, whose question is, what would you say to someone in their 30s with a full-time career and wants to be a snowboard instructor? So I guess just a very quick sort of overview from our standpoint. We do receive applications and interest from all sorts of different people, all different sorts of walks of life. The fantastic news about this industry is that it isn't really set in terms of specific age. It's not that you have to be a certain age necessarily to join the industry. You can join from most instances be 18, but in some instances you could be below 18, so 17. But predominantly, we do find that anyone that wants to join our programs normally will be between the ages of 18 to 30 if they're doing an internship. One of the key reasons is due to working holiday visa requirements, which might be able to sort of have Danny discuss a little bit about that. I don't know, Danny, do you want to answer this question, or are you happy for me to continue on with it? Or?
I can answer it. Actually, for a person 30, I know I trained with a woman who was literally 30 the day she started her program. She struggled a little bit with the visas, but not to the extent that she said, you know, it's prohibitive. She is now teaching in Engelberg in Switzerland, sorry, and she's doing really, really well. She's a really good friend of mine, and she did her level 2 with me again last year. This isn't an industry where age is a massive issue in terms of, like, a lot of people go, "Oh, am I too old to do it?" or something. And I'm like, not at all. I know plenty of instructors who are in their 60s and 70s, and they're just as good. They're just as good, if not more effective, because they've had a little bit of background experience. They're the guys who bring a lot to the table. And yeah, the course is going to be mainly slightly younger people, but I know in my course there was quite a wide range of, we had 18 and 19-year-olds, we had mid-20-year-olds, like I said, we had a couple of 29, 30-year-olds. So this isn't just a young person's gap year thing. This is something, if you wanted to do it, then yeah, I'd say sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and have a try. And definitely, it's something that the person I train with, she's not regretted at all. She loves her job, and she loves the lifestyle.
Okay.
I think Emma's got a question. Canada or New Zealand? Oof, that's a big question. Canada is fantastic for snowfall and things like that. Like I said, there's world-renowned resorts here in Canada, but it is freezing. I've been outside teaching in minus 29, minus 30 degrees. New Zealand's a little bit more forgiving, and it definitely is. It's a lot warmer. If you like your freestyle, definitely New Zealand is a place to go. Every place has got a massive park and things like that. For me, New Zealand is more beneficial for me because I've been there a couple of seasons. So I'm starting to get a little bit more money, a little bit more. I'm getting people coming back saying, "Hey, I want Danny to teach me," and those guys pay a little bit more. So for me, it's economically, it's better for me in New Zealand. However, Canada, I've loved. There's some great trips to have, and yeah, it's just one of those things of, I think, a lot of people, it's just a toss up in lifestyle as well, which is it's all down to personal kind of preference. But I know some people prefer. My sister prefers Canada. I prefer New Zealand, but I think both of us we just love the ski community, and I think they're all pretty similar wherever you go.
Fantastic. I just wanted to sort of maybe just follow on a little bit from Danny's answer to your question there, Kira, because I know specifically you were indicating that you're in a full-time career and you wanted to be a snowboard instructor. So with our internships, basically people do need to have a working holiday visa, or they need to have a citizenship that allows you to be able to work in that country. For example, if you are an Australian citizen, you can certainly come and work in New Zealand because there's no sort of visa requirement. Likewise, if you're someone from the UK that's a skier, you could do a Swiss internship because there's no sort of working holiday visa requirement. If you're looking specifically at somewhere where you may potentially not have this visa eligibility, a working holiday visa, which is limited to normally the age of 30. Some instances it's 35. What you really probably need to be looking at doing is doing one of our training programs. So this is whereby you can train for a period of up to basically from 4 through to 11 weeks. We also have a full season training program option in Revelstoke, which combines the training with an ability to be able to do a bit of shadowing of actual lessons, which all counts towards sort of logged hours. For someone in their 30s, it's certainly not that you can't make it a longer term viewpoint. The key thing really is you just need to get your certification up to I would tend to recommend you'd want to be going towards level 2 in the same season. That would probably be the best bet. And then from that point, you would be able to, if you're I don't know if maybe you can answer on the chat there, Kira, if you're watching still. Maybe if you could tell us whereabouts you're from, if you don't mind sharing that, that might just sort of help me be a little bit more specific. So if you're from the UK, as you've answered there, what that'll mean is you would be able to work in Europe as a certified instructor, having done a training program in the likes of Canada. What happens beyond those first seasons and sort of future seasons is you then are into a position where you can look at getting a sponsored visa. And that basically opens the doors to all sorts of different countries around the world. So it's, I guess in summary, really, it's not ruled out. It's just that your internship ability maybe in the first season is maybe a little bit restricted purely based on the visa. So I hope that helps answer your question. Please do let me know on the chat though if not, and we can certainly go into a bit more detail. But yeah, thanks for your question there, Kira. Looks like we've got another one from David there. Danny, are you still with us okay?
Yeah, all fine. David there, I know most of the skiing courses begin with level 1. Is there an option to bypass level 1 and begin training at level 2 from the start of the season? I can only speak to the programs I've been on. It's specifically an internship for level 1, where they do a level 1 and then they go into teaching and getting that experience for that teaching. I do know in Queenstown there is a level 1 and level 2 program, and I know that these are getting to be quite popular now, is where people do level 1 and level 2 in the season. I'm not sure about the programs where you just go straight into level 2. I don't think we offer that one, do we, Ash?
Yeah, no, it's a very good question and particularly relevant. So we do actually have, and I'll see if I can actually put this on the website. Just we've got a link to it. In Switzerland, we've got an option in Zermatt, which is specifically geared towards those that have BASI level 1. And it is quite often the case from our perspective that we do get people that have gained their first level certification. They're wanting to progress further, whether it be through trying to find a job. Some people often are in that place where they're trying to to stand out, to get that sort of first season of work. And I guess that's probably also a reason why our internships in the first place have come about, is really that sometimes is a bit of a hurdle for people, having got their level 1, that they're trying to stand out in amongst a number of different applicants for a position. So I'll just actually see if I can, I'll just have a quick little look on my side.
I mean, I can take over. The key with the key with a lot of the requirements here is experience in the industry and having that experience. I know a lot of people, say, oh, you've got your qualifications, that's great, but getting that experience is really key. And like you're saying, with a level 1, that's a great introduction into the industry, but a lot of people struggle actually getting full-time or enough hours to count as a season worker. I know out here in Canada, they're pushing for more experienced instructors and instructors who can teach, who've taught for more than 2 or 3 seasons. So if you can get onto a program where at least gives you even a season, that instantly puts you above and highlights you as a person who can teach and has got the experience necessary. If you just get 1 season, usually it falls into place. A lot of people in other, like for example myself, I've been offered jobs in Japan and Australia from people I've met in the industry, because they're like, we know you, and therefore we can easily set you up into other areas. So it's definitely getting that first season is the key. And if you look into it, definitely it will make your applications a lot stronger.
So just to follow up there, thank you very much for sort of elaborating a little bit more on that there, Danny. It's certainly good to hear your insight, and obviously Danny is someone that's, I guess, it's pretty cool from my side of things, seeing Danny progress, you know, having come through as someone completely new to the industry. As you can see, he's become quite knowledgeable. Obviously, it's a big bonus, I think, of those that have come on the internship, is you're completely integrated in the snow sports school. You're getting insights from, obviously we're here as a support role, we're here for guidance and mentorship, and that is really, I guess, Danny's role at the end of the day, out in resort for all the interns, just making sure that they feel like they're progressing themselves, they're understanding how it all works. But from a side to that, you've also got that that industry insight from experienced qualified instructors, you know, that are not completely unaffiliated with us. You know, they're people that are working in the industry, and I guess that's always very helpful for future jobs, you know, future opportunities, introductions to the snow sports school managers and that kind of thing. David, I hope that information I've just sent you through in a comment. Hopefully that should help with regards to your question. In terms of you're looking at Canada, more specifically, you could certainly attend one of our programs in Canada. It would be, if you want to do an internship, that you could attend an Ultimate Plus. The Ultimate Plus, it is geared towards those wanting to get level 1 and level 2 in the same season. From what we can do, we can look at actually recognising level 1 for its equivalency. So we can actually, I guess you've got two things you could do from here. One is we could look at potentially removing the level 1 out of the cost of the program, so you don't have to necessarily do that. You would need to get an associate membership with the Canadian Ski Instructors Alliance. Basically, that would allow that to be recognised for its equivalency, and you could progress onwards from there. However, one thing that I guess that is, you know, you've got the training orientated, you'd still have to train towards level 1. It's just sort of the way the program is structured. So you'd still need to be in attendance for that. That has two benefits really. One is that if you did want to do the level 1 under a different system, you could obviously have 2 different systems under your belt. And because that training's already gearing you up towards it, it may still be particularly relevant to still go through that level 1 qualification. If you do go through it and wishing to sort of go towards level 2, it's really, at the end of the day, it's all about, you know, getting as much mileage and as much input from trainers as you possibly can. So all that will still have relevancy even if you didn't do the level 1 Canadian cert. Going through all that level 1 training, it is, in a way as well, it is a prerequisite to the employment. People have to attend the level 1 training. They have to be seen to be presenting themselves in the best possible light. So the snow sports school can sort of see what you're like. So we're looking really, you know, for people that are professional, reliable, punctual. I guess those are some of the key things that you probably want to be sort of showcasing of yourself. But I do hope that's answered your question there, David. Please let us know on the side though, if not, if there's anything that you want to sort of further clarify. And if anyone obviously else that's in attendance wants to put forward any further questions, we're more than happy to help out with any specific ones. Okay, so I guess just sort of to follow on from where we're at now, Danny's obviously someone that's working and very involved in the industry. He's gone between Canada and New Zealand. I guess maybe I guess something that might be quite relevant and interesting for the group is maybe just in terms of the way instructors get paid? I know you've sort of given a little bit of an overview there, Danny, but you've indicated, you've built up a little bit of a sort of a slight bit of a following in Mount Hutt. You've got some people that come back to you for lessons. You get paid a bit more. I guess you don't have to necessarily go into too specific detail, but can you maybe just tell us a little bit about kind of how sort of you get paid? Is it sort of
really, really kind of simply, you get paid for the time you teach. That's where a lot of people don't realize, just because you're on the mountain might not mean you're getting paid, but when you do get paid, you generally have quite a high level of rate, an hourly rate, compared to other people working on the mountain. That's because people recognize your qualifications. You've had to train, you've had to take an exam to do the job you're doing, so therefore you get paid a little bit more. But that's obviously only when you're teaching. So that's the kind of balance. It's a balancing act between teaching and time actually working. The thing is it's an industry that rewards commitment. It's an industry that rewards you trying to better yourself. For example, especially here in Canada, I know your rate you get an extra like $8 or $9 an hour added on for becoming a level 2, because you're worth a lot more to the industry. Same thing for dual instructors. If you get if you're a snowboard and a ski instructor, you're obviously more valuable to that ski school, and they change your rate accordingly. So the more qualifications you can do, the higher the rate your pay is, and also the more employable you are. In New Zealand as well, the more qualifications you get, the higher up the priority system they've got there you go. So basically you're worth more to the school, so they're more likely to give you work. So it is an industry that rewards you trying to better yourself, which is great. It's a great feeling to feel like I've just passed an exam and now I've got a bonus at work as well. It's a great feeling. It's a double whammy. Also, after a while, you start getting clients, and these are different to just normal day business. Day business is great, but clients are where the real money's at. So for example, most of them will book you for a private lesson, and in a lot of places they give you a bonus for that. So you don't just get your teaching rate, you also get a bit of commission as well. So a little bit of sales is required, but realistically your sales are what you do and what you teach and how you teach, and that's your kind of way of doing it. I remember I had a family that booked me for a whole week. So that's 6 hours a day of teaching for 6 days, and at Mount Hutt you get paid double your rate. So I got equivalent paid full days for 2 weeks for doing a week's work, and it was a great time with the family. You get to know them, you get to hang out with them, you go to lunch with them, and it's actually really, really rewarding. I took them from never ever skied before, never even seen snow, to most of them skiing, reasonable black runs and doing some basic freestyle. So it's not just rewarding in that sense of the word. It's rewarding, financially as well, when you actually get clients and people who want to come back and ski with you. I teach kids every weekend, and I've had parents going, actually, we only want you to teach our kid. That's great for me, but also it's great financially, because I'm going, well, I'm guaranteed they're going to come back to me. It's not, like I said, a huge earner. It will take you a while to get those clients coming back to you, but once you start getting them, it actually really starts paying for itself, and it's very, very rewarding. The mountain as well is also a great place to get side jobs as well. There's always places that are looking for people to do part-time work as well. So if you really want to, I don't know, save up for that exam or get a new pair of skis or something, there's always little side jobs going in ski towns, or even on the mountain, like you could do lifty work, things like that. There's always those options for you. However, it is a fickle industry. sometimes the snow's not quite there. So we always say, any company you go to will always say, hey, make sure you arrive with a bit of savings behind you, just in case, you never know. So that's why I always recommend people, do take a few savings with you and make sure you've got a little bit of a nest egg. If you don't use it, that's great. You've still got the savings, but then it's just there just in case.
Yeah, so certainly a good point, Danny. Something we'd obviously highly recommend from our side of things for sure. The reality is that the role is, it's not a 40-hour working week type job, and there's a lot of benefits to it in that sense as well, that you've got, like Danny said, you've got an allocation of work that's provided to you. That basically comes just purely from you turning up. You enhance yourself through certifications and your own personal development. I think sort of someone, from my side of things, I've been in the industry for a little over 13 years now, and I think the big thing I find is, if you're one of those types of instructors that's, that really is just kind of, you're a good role model. You're someone that's always seemed to be there on time, early. I think a big thing, probably Danny will agree with me on this, if you've got, for example, like a coordinator, they're the people that normally sort of assign all the lessons. If you're someone that's shown to be taking the initiative to go out there and actually, speak to people before anyone's actually come up to you and go, right, hey, are you here for a lesson? And you actually just strike up a conversation. No one's asked you to do it. You see them having trouble carrying their equipment. They're doing it all sorts of different funny ways with their, all sorts of bits of pieces hanging off. I guess from the perspective of a client, they're probably often quite stressed. They've probably struggled to get to the resort. They've got their kids. They're trying to not lose. They might have lost their bus pass and they've been trying to figure that out while they're getting there. So I guess you can be sort of that shining light. And that first touch you have with the customer, it's hugely important. So it's something that you can then hopefully build up that rapport. You can then actually start to build up a client base, which at the end of the day, you're a contracted employee of the school. But the structure of the snow sports school, and this is typical for the whole industry, is that you're encouraged and incentivized to generate repeat business. It's good for the school, it's good for yourself, it's good for your reputation. So there's everything sort of in it for those people that do that. So I guess just a little point just to make. But I guess, has anyone else got any other questions that you wanted us to answer? We're probably not too far off finishing up here, but hopefully it's been relatively insightful for those in attendance. Yeah, do let us know either on the chat on the side or just pop through a question and we'll certainly do our best to help. I guess, Tanny,
just to follow on from Ashley.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Good positive attitude is really, really important. So a lot of schools halfway through the season will do a review of most of their brand new employees. They will sit down and they will review them and just say, okay, that positive attitude of going out and saying hi to people, even if you're not working, you might not have a lesson. If you go out and chat with the clients, with the people who book lessons, if you help those people out, that has a positive impact, not only on yourself professionally, because people look and go, well, I want that instructor and stuff like that. It has a positive impact on your supervisors. Your supervisors will pick up on it. It's not a sort of place, a ski hall is very small. You can't really hide away from those sorts of things, for good or for worse, and they notice some people doing bad jobs, they notice people doing good jobs, and it does get reflected in you as an instructor in terms of that hill. References are important in this business. If you get good positive references from other ski instructors, great. They're going to pass it on to other mountains, other hills, and if you want to build up a reputation, if you want to carry on in this industry, definitely a good rep is very, very important. I knew a lad last year, wasn't in the EA program. He turned up late quite regularly. his lessons were fine. You know, there was nothing wrong with his teaching, but professionally, he didn't have that positive outlook, and he did not succeed in the school at all. You know, he was very, very poorly thought of, and that's not just because of his teaching. That's because of his general demeanour. And a good positive attitude is really key. I always told this to everybody who I meet first time. Say, go out there, chat to people, make sure you're positive. And it is an industry that rewards a good service. It does. It rewards it itself. And I hope everybody, you know, no matter if I see you or not, I hope everybody takes that away. And that's like the number one thing, because everybody's watching on a mountain as well. From your trainers to your managers to everybody else, they'll all watch and they all chat to each other, because guess what? Everybody knows each other.
Yeah, it's really like you are a moving billboard, really. You can't get away from the fact that you are wearing the jacket, wearing the logo. You know, people know what you are, and I guess even to the extent of, you know, just skiing down the slope. You know, if you were sort of fooling around a fair bit in uniform, that probably isn't going to reflect very well. It might even be that there's a bad review from a member of the public, and they can work out eventually who it is. So I guess just using your initiative, obviously, with that kind of thing. And I think David's just got another quick question here, which certainly will be happy to help. So he asks, is it more often school groups or families who you would work with during the season? Danny?
It changes from hill to hill you go to. For example, Mount Hutt and Nikiska, which I work at, are very close to very large cities. So we get a lot of school groups coming through as well. If you go to somewhere where it's more destination based, so you've got the likes of, you know, the Three Valleys, or if you go to Whistler or Revelstoke or things like that, they're more destinations, so you'll definitely be working with more people coming on holiday. Just two different sides of the business. I personally work with a lot of kids. I do, you know, I'd say 70% of my business is working with children. I knew one instructor who said he didn't like working with children, and someone turned around and went, well, that's the industry. You know, a lot of it is working with younger people, because effectively you're bringing them into the sport. You'll have a lot of parents who are skiers themselves. They want their kids to ski or snowboard or whatever. So it is mainly working, you know, I'd say the majority of my work is with kids, whether that's in school groups or programs or multi-weeks, or they come maybe every Wednesday or something like that for a season. There are some family groups, there are some adults as well, and corporate groups, but I would say the majority of my work is with kids, and that's reflected in a lot of the systems. They will have a certification called, like, specifically dealing with teaching children. I'm a child certified instructor. I know plenty of other people have got something similar. So yeah, it is mainly children, and it's, for me, mainly school groups, but again, could change depending on what hill you're on.
Cool. Hope that answers your question there, David. I guess probably something just to sort of, we'll probably look at wrapping things up here. Obviously, if you got lots of questions, do please keep firing them through. Otherwise, we'll probably look at wrapping things up from here. Basically, I guess one of the, probably as a sort of, I guess a bit of a closing statement really is, you know, that this industry, it's not, I think this sort of goes back to Kira's sort of initial question, just about, you know, her circumstance. She's in a full-time position, you know, over the age of 30 by the sounds of things, and just sort of wondering about what her options are. I guess really the kind of people that come on our programs at the end of the day are quite a spread. You know, we've got people that are from just purely looking from a gap year perspective, you know, wanting to do something between their studies. We've got people that are, you know, doing it as a career change. You know, they've been in a certain role for many years, and, you know, this has always been a sort of a pipe dream, something they want to always head towards, but, you know, have maybe had various things that have delayed that. So Yeah, I mean, and there's certainly a scope, like Danny sort of discussed today, for someone to actually make this a full-time year-round career. People I work with in my own local hill, there are some people that are 50-something plus seasons teaching. You know, it's their life, it's their lifestyle. They'll chase winter to winter, and they can't imagine anything else. So it certainly can be done that way, and you know, there's all sorts of different pathways as well for people that want to progress. You know, whether it be that you're you know, someone specifically wants to work with children, if you've got maybe a bit of a focus area towards the likes of freestyle or race coaching. You know, there's sort of pathways that sort of stem from, you know, having done your first season on an internship. I guess the big thing is your first season has hopefully provided you with a really strong platform. That's sort of, I guess, a best possible outcome for you. You're then in a much more employable state. Your insight is, you know what the industry is all about by that